board meeting for the Juvenile Crime Prevention Council. I just want to introduce myself to everyone. I am the chair of this council. What we'll first start to do, since we are kind of in a new setting, is just go around, just introduce yourself briefly, just say who you are representing here today. We'll get on with everything else and hopefully introduce and find out a little bit more about everyone throughout the day. But again, my name is George Rudman. I work with Buncombe County Sheriff's Office. Again, I am the JCPC chair.
I'm Angel Redmond. I am facility supervisor of Stevens Lake Community Center.
I'm Brandon Priester. I'm the Youth Community Service Coordinator for Atlanta Sky Regional Council.
Nate Alexander, Justice Services Admin Support. Good morning to Amateur Justice Services Board. Life McCoy with the Buncombe DA's office. Elizabeth Craft, community member.
Dee Tyrell, that group with Asheville Parks and Recreation. Andy Babowski, community member.
Angie Garner, Via Health, Additional Community Relations Director. Sylvia Clement, Chief Equipment Counselor with BJJ here at Buncombe County.
Lorraine Williams, area consultant with BJJ, but with community programs.
Jeremy Bricker with Family Preservation Services.
Hannah Litchton, Youth Justice Division Manager with Buncombe County and JCPC support.
Vladimir Gilligan, I started as a juvenile counselor.
I'm Isabella Jealous. I also just started about a month ago as a juvenile court counselor with BJJ. And so with her, community member applying for a privilege.
It is in my house. I'm Karen Pearson with Restorative Justice in this county. I'll come over here. That's a team coordinator.
All right, so.
I'm Matt Scofield, a community member applying for a position. I work as a public defender in the Judicial District South of here, which is Transylvania, Henderson, and Public.
It's good to have everyone here. The first order of business is to review. Oh, that's right, we do have people on the screen. Is Stan here?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Stan, can you just say who you, if you are here?
I am here. I'm here with the hope of becoming a member of the committee.
Yeah. Should we be able to hear them from the speaker in this one?
Can you hear me?
Mo.
Well,
Hi. My name's Mo. I'm with Pivot Point, Western North Carolina.
Okay.
Morning, Mo. Next is it Dr. Ross.
Hi, my name is Kadaya Ross. I work for Buncombe County HHS. I am here as the health director's designee.
Morning, Kadaya. Mr. Robinson.
Eric Robinson with Asheville Housing Authorities.
Morning, Eric. Natasha.
Good morning. I'm Natasha Atwaters, Executive Director with Children First Communities and Schools.
Morning, Natasha. Kokima.
Great morning, everyone. Kokima Hines, and I work with Via Health, and I'm also here as a community member.
Kokima. Kim.
Hello. Kim Castano with Aspire Youth and Family.
Morning, Kim. Stan, can we get you again?
I'm having trouble.
We got you.
Oh, great. Terrific. My name is Stan Ingber. I'm hoping to become a member of the committee.
Morning, Stan. All right.
We have a couple of attendees watching. I know Janie Kelly is a member of the community who's interested. User 05052. I'm not sure if you are JCPC member or applicant, please let me know so I can provide you to a panelist. You can send me a message.
All right, so I believe while Hannah's trying to figure out who U05052 is, we can go ahead and move on to our next item on the agenda, which is to review and make a motion for the board of minutes that happened in August 17th, 2023. Hannah had sent that out for y'all to review. Has everyone had a chance to review the minutes from the last board meeting in August 17th? And if so, are any revisions, any thoughts, any edits that need to be made?
Second. And I have one note of an edit that we'll fix already, the spelling of Chief Clement's name.
So motion by Gert and then second by Andy. Now, do we need to do it just a unanimous vote on that?
So yes.
Instead of doing a roll call, what I can perhaps do, at least in here, is if everyone here has an ability to be able to vote on it, it's on the board. You all are approval of the board minutes, everyone say aye.
Aye.
Anyone that opposes, say nay. All right, so who's on there that CC now on there?
CC, Kakima, Eric, and Natasha.
Okay. Kokima, Eric, CC, Natasha. Is that everyone that needs to vote?
Yes.
Have you all had a chance to review the minutes from August 17th, 2023?
Yeah.
Are there any questions or any edits that y'all think need to be made?
No.
Not on my end, no.
No.
All right, so for all if you approve of the minutes at this point, can you all say yay?
Yay.
Yay.
Any opposition, say no. So we have an approval of the August 17th, 2023 board minutes. Annie, you said that edit was something minor?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So as we move on to the next item in the agenda, the next thing we'll do is have speak with Ms. Clement, and she'll introduce, it looks like, we've already got an introduction briefly of the new court counselors, but you can go a little bit further in who they are.
So we have some new hires. Yay. We're super excited about them. So we had one that was supposed to come and she got sick. So Jeremy, there's another sick one. And she has been with us since March. And so she's been at Dillon helping out at the facilities every now and then. So she couldn't make it the last time, supposed to be here this time. So as I said, she was sick. And so our newest, well, the next one would be Isabella Jones. She came to us last month and she's a trainee. And then Brian Vladimir Gillian, who just started Monday as a trainee. So super excited about that. And I also do have 2 additional ones coming on the 30th. I'm so excited, I don't know what to do. So one is a trainee and then one will be coming in with full-fledged court counselor. So that's exciting. It means that she will be able to take cases, like large cases, a great number of cases. So I'm excited about it. Yeah, because we are still, I don't want to give it to my part, but yeah, we're still holding the fort down, which I wouldn't have it any other way. I'm a team player, but anyway, I will yield the floor to my newest court counsel. I told them they didn't have to say very much because they're looking like, what? I don't want to talk to these people, but yeah, just tell who they are, a little bit of their background, and then they can dash to go continue to learn DJ James Smith and
My name is Vladimir Gilligan. I'm from Chapel Hill, North Carolina. I just am in the very last stages of finishing my master's in criminal justice. I wanted to do this job because it falls in line with what I'm doing for my thesis, which is restricting solitary confinement on juveniles, creating a law that prohibits it. So, and then I found this job online interest in me, and I thought, it'd be a great opportunity to continue down the road working with juveniles. So here I am.
I'm Isabella. I just graduated in May from Longwood University, if anybody knows. It's in Virginia, so I grew up in Northern Virginia. Graduated with a degree in criminal justice and psychology. So I felt like this job was the perfect mix between those two, which is why I picked it. And never thought I'd be working with juveniles, but honestly really love it so far. So it's been going well.
So as part of their onboarding, they have to come and meet the JCPC council and so attend it. And so that's why they're here today. And I wanted folks to know who they are. And it's all in the community. We work with the DA's office, public defender's office. So I wanted to make sure we introduce them. Any questions for them? Welcome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Real quick, what made y'all choose Asheville?
I like the mountains, so it's a lot different than being an hour outside of DC, but I like it a lot better than up there.
It's just I want to stay in North Carolina because my family lives here, and I lived in Greensboro for the past 6 years, and I wanted to experience something new, fresh start, new people. Basically, I like this.
Well, you had an exciting day yesterday.
Yes.
Had some stuff that happened that hadn't happened in a long time. We had to restrain the kids. I was like, oh my gosh, I come out the office and I'm like, what is going on? So anyway, thank you guys. Any other questions for them before they? Thank you so much.
Thank you guys. Nice to meet you all.
Thank you, Sylvia, for that update. Dennis, welcome.
Yeah.
Sylvia, so you were talking about that's 2. You said you're getting another 2 on the 30th.
I am.
What's kind of stat? I mean, what are you looking at for? I know perhaps there's an update later on, but what are you looking at for staff now?
We're still down at least 6 additional ones, but we need males. We need males. We have, which makes 2. Mr. Lance, he's our veteran and we depend on him a lot, but 1 male cannot run the show. And so with all that, all our duties and responsibilities, which includes on call. Like he was the only veteran yesterday that could restrain. I just happened to come out, and of course, I don't mind pulling up my sleeves to get in there. I still got something in it. But yeah, so we're looking for males. Like I said, they took those duties and responsibilities away the interviewing. So if you know of any males that's interested in being a part of our team, please let us know. But yeah, mostly we have females right now. We only have 2, Mr. Vladimir and then Mr. Lance, who's with us. He's been with us for a minute, but he can't do anything.
I'm sorry, Angie, for skipping the planning, but I just wanted to roll on into Sylvia. We'll go back to the planning one, but I just felt since we had them here that you can kind of give an update. Not to say too much, but is that a security custody happening this afternoon?
Yes,
Okay.
it is.
So they will get to see that.
So what?
They'll get to see that and
Absolutely, everything, because we'll hold their hands for a minute, but kind of move them along quickly, like giving them small cases, maybe up to 5 they can handle. They can carry that. So that's what we want to do as opposed to just kind of dragging that. But we want to make sure they know what they're doing. So yeah, they'll get a couple of cases, but the regular court counselor should carry up to start at 25 and go on up. And so we have the one that we have coming. Of course, we're not going to dump them on her right when she gets here. We want her to learn the lay of the land first, and then we will move that along. But yeah. Mostly men, complaints are beginning to pick up. You want me to go ahead and
go ahead and do yours. And then we'll switch back to Angie. Okay. Enjoy her.
So our last veteran, our veteran intake person, she left on Friday, was her last day. And so we've had to transition and switch it. Supervisors are doing intakes, we're carrying caseloads, we're still doing that. And so a lot, but let me look at my list. I've already said that about the staffing challenges and the hiring, about the intake and complaints. Oh, this is a biggie. So we found out that, court councils are gonna get the step pay plan. That's what adult corrections got a while ago. We're last, we're the bottom of the barrel, if you could say that. But I think that's exciting, which is gonna encourage people to stay, and which would be a carrot too, to recruit new staff because of the pay. Absolutely expensive, it's an expensive place to live. So one of the things I shared with my supervisor when they're interviewing, hey, let them know it's very, very expensive to live here, the rent and all that, and those types of things. So court councils were very excited to receive that news, and I was excited for them too. So maybe we won't continue to lose so many people. But yeah.
Do you think those letters helped at all? Did y'all hear anything about that? That some of the
Billy
JCPCs
did say
wrote?
that. Yeah, Billy did say that he received the letters from JCPC. So thank you guys for sending those letters and supporting JJ in District 26. So, but yeah, he did receive that. So thank you again. So hopefully, yeah, that's getting that news about the step pay plan will hopefully keep some people and recruit some people. So we're excited about that. Madison detention update on that. We met last month to discuss District 28's concerns. And we had a good, nice, long heated discussion. And so this month we will go to tour the facility because there was concerns about multiple things. The showers and all of that. So all the chiefs in the Western area will go and tour the facility and show us what it looks like, what the schedule looks like, and all of that. So they're not being dismissive. We're trying to problem solve and see what we can get done. Dillon, they're still requesting that we go to Dillon. We were only able to send that one person, Stephanie, and so we probably won't send her again. But yeah, they're asking for services to support facilities. On a good note, we did have a staff appreciation day for all the staff west at Camp Weird in September. This is a time because it's not only District 28 that has issues or concerns or staffing struggles or whatever. It's kind of everybody in the state. And so that was an opportunity for us just to kind of have a day talk. We had hot dogs, hamburgers, those kinds of things. And they said they felt appreciated. So there you go. Any questions for me about anything?
Sylvia, for those of us who are even familiar with juvenile justice, like what is the caseload looking like now compared to?
It varies, but the veteran court counselor, he has up to 50. And it could be more because like I said, complaints are picking up now. And so we don't know what we're gonna do. And I can say the assessment backlog is manageable, but the caseload up to 50 for that one person, and then one of the supervisors has 45. And so I have mine 20, and so on and so forth. And so the other one doesn't because now she's transitioned to intake. So like I said, we just trying to piece it together and do the best we can.
Is that like an uptick from previous years? Is it more?
Not really, but we had more staff that we could balance it out just a little bit more and better. But now it's just like, okay, that plus on top of our other duties and responsibilities. Like I got a couple here, so that takes me away. I might have a meeting this afternoon, or opposite that when I get back, and a couple opportunities. So.
And really too, thinking about that, the folks you had before were super seasoned.
Yeah, better.
And mostly males.
Yeah.
So
And so that's,
not only higher caseloads, even if it's saying you have people that you have to train and are very green.
So that makes a difference.
So go ahead.
I'm sorry, George. When you go to Madison, do you get to speak with the juveniles there about the experience, or is it just?
This is our first time going, so I don't know if they will be available. I'm not sure. So what I can tell you is that after that, our good discussion, Some of them were transferred to Alexander, so we haven't had very many there yet. We had, they transferred, so I think we put one in custody there last week and he was released, and we have one today, and most likely he'll be released too. So it hadn't been as many as before, so just a few.
Can you kind of dive in on the male aspect? I mean, I'm assuming that the thought is that a lot of the crime is done by young boys. Is that the kind of thought? Or, I
It
mean,
varies, but mostly we see males, yeah.
90%.
Yeah, the majority. We have some females. There's, there can be some females, but yeah, the majority are male.
And so the draw for a male, is it gender, like, is it better to have male on male? I mean, is that sort of the drive, or is it?
In some capacities, we do have to, like if we're doing a drug screen, we can't have a female.
Right.
Do that, and then on call, some of them are more aggressive, and like Angie said, if we got trainees, they can't. They can't do anything.
Right.
They're not certified, they wouldn't know what to do. And we don't want that liability of them getting injured or hurt and trying to secure or restrain someone. So, yeah, if the majority of the population are males, then we would need additional males, not just those two, one season and one trainee, because the trainee he can't do it.
How long is training?
2 years.
2 years before they get
With the
taken?
progression, with the progression.
But when can they start taking cases?
They can start taking small cases, like up to 5. So
Okay.
we can do that. But we wouldn't give them the high-end cases, they would get below, where they could either call or make a school visit or do an office visit, but you still have to demonstrate that and they have to observe it.
Cause I'm thinking too, like secure transport, you know, like just
They can't do that.
look out. Yeah, I mean, I just can't imagine, because back in the day, I would ride along with my little kids, and I can't even imagine someone who, yeah, I mean, that would be terrifying, honestly.
Yeah, they can't do on-call,
Okay.
not yet. Yeah. We used to have a primary and a secondary on-call. We only have a primary because we don't have enough people. So we are leaning and on the support of law enforcement. You know, they can be held, a kid can be held up to 12 hours, but they have been so gracious, thank goodness, that we have good relationships with most of them to transport some of our kids to Madison. So that's helpful to us, that we don't or have to try to enable all that. And so if it's a male again, then we have to call Mr. Lance to say, hey, can you transport? So
Now you talk about complaints coming up. We're in the middle of school. Is this school related stuff? Is this stuff that perhaps school justice partnership, like, is this just stuff that you would normally see, or is this a sort of intake of other things?
it varies. Some of it is school related, some of it is parents coming in with ungovernable. It's a variety of things. So, but school justice partnership is doing its job. We've had some run-ins with we make school visits. And I don't know, I think it's new principals that Shannon said, or new assistant principals that have not gotten the word yet that we're not law enforcement, we're not being, as we don't have to sign this paper, we're not doing investigation. So which they kind of prohibit us from seeing the kid, because I was like, well, that's really falsifying, documents. We're not either one, we're not law enforcement, or we're not DSS. And so, anyway, we're working that part out, but it's a little frustrating when you go to see kids, because the majority of our kids, we could see like in one swoop. We can see 10 kids at one school. And so, but if they haven't got the memo that we are allowed to do that, it's a little bit frustrating when we go there, but we have a plan to take care of that, so. But yeah, these are all good questions. Thank you. You should know that this is what we're going through. It's not like we're not doing the work. It's not like we're running people away, but it's just people gotta live, and they can't live off what they're paying, and it's been like that way for a long time. So like I said, the step plan pay will help maintain and keep Mr. Land. But and help recruit, we'll be able to recruit people at a decent salary.
Is that immediate with the passing of the budget?
Yes, they should see, court counsel should see that in their October check, but we have to work on maintaining and keeping our supervisors as well, because I think they're in close proximity to what. Anyway, that's a whole other story. Yeah, but anyway, they're working on that. And so hopefully we'll get that resolved, they say by December for supervisors and chiefs. And then we do have a JJ conference coming up in Beaufort, North Carolina, with the supervisors and the chiefs and maybe some it just depends on what position you have available that can go, to tell you the truth. And we'll be discussing some of these issues and concerns, some new house bills, those type of things, and salaries, and all of that. So we got a lot going on, to tell you the truth. We're doing the best that we can do to manage all of this, especially this across the state. So everybody has pretty much the same issues, not the same staff missing, different type of staff issues, but yeah, pretty much it's the same overall. Sure.
So you think a job fair geared towards part of the public safety? I know we bring in this mobile career unit to get vacancy work in, and we go out on a job fair specifically for both the women's career facility I've been going on. So you think it would be beneficial for kind of a Western region job fair? We have the Western North Carolina Expo job fair coming up next week at the Accent. We always looking.
We'll be there. And I think they've had some job fairs like in the other Western counties or whatever, but those people there will attend those, but wherever, if you have one locally, just make me aware, they'll show up. So I've done some in the past year or so. We have any interest.
I can help push it to my 4 counties, but if there's something, we can partner with the Southwest region. Pull those workforce boards together. Help put together a job.
I would appreciate it.
Geared
Sounds good.
specifically towards the department, I would say.
And if you're in the community, you know of anybody, any males, I mean, we don't want this anybody, of course, they have to be processed with the application, through the application process. Encourage them to apply, encourage them to call me, I can, share some information, talk about juvenile justice or whatever.
Does it require bachelor's?
I was just about to say senior.
Yes, 4-year degrees.
Okay. Maybe I'm just thinking out the box, all the criminal justice that's in Montreat, UNTA, Warren Wilson, all those individuals that are graduating or coming up and have those degrees might be ones who perhaps we can reach out to those departments and tap in and just say, hey, this might be something, because they're already in Asheville, they're already in that sort of track. And so that may at least give a couple or a few that may want to stay around.
Right. That would be helpful.
Okay.
And thank you guys for being so excited.
Yeah, and it was.
Before we move on to further in the agenda, I know we have some new JCPC programs, staff on JCPC programs. And I also, before we do those introductions, I want to just, for folks who just jumped on the live stream in the past, or jumped on Zoom in the past minutes, we are live streaming and recording today for the first time, and we'll be moving forward. So just wanted to make sure everyone got that notice. But thank you.
Diana, you said we have some new JCPC, you said staff programs?
Programs, do we have new staff?
Yes.
Do you want to start?
Sure. Y'all know Benton County is undertook a clinical services program. We've been recruiting for months and we hired a clinician. She's joining us virtually. Yay. So you wanna can she see us? Can you just introduce yourself to the team?
Yes, hello. I hope you can hear me okay.
Mm-hmm.
Good morning. My name is Ava. I'm a licensed clinical therapist, and I'm super excited to begin my role here with everyone and to help these young people gain better access to assessments.
Thank you.
We are preparing for a sophomore November 1st, meaning that's our tentative date, working with Sylvia to get referrals for CCAs. If they deem appropriate. She'll we'll schedule an office hours, be convenient in the courthouse, and start building from there. We still are doing substance use counseling and group from the ashes That is something that we'll continue to partner with them for the rest of the year and assess how that relationship goes. At some point, and starting with groups in the future. So thank y'all for your patience.
Quick question. Tiffany, if Ava does an assessment and it's the kid, outpatient, then would maybe she start to see that kid?
Yeah, that's the plan. So part of the onboarding process is working with our current mental health providers to see what the flow looks like. We do plan and we can talk about what CCAs are planning to see the one that VIA already has. I do know how providers want to also do an assessment. So the goal is, and that's what we'll talk about, like which CCAs might be most important if the council see that they've already been with since been home or have that like standard level of care already. Then so we'll talk through what that looks like.
Okay. And then y'all are gonna join the JCPC.
Mm-hmm.
We're building.
Thank y'all, and please, if y'all have anything or things we need to consider, reach out to us. We're doing this in collaboration. So you also want to be definitely part there.
Karen, did you wanna, do you have any thoughts to? No.
Anybody else?
I think that some other programs may have had some new staff, but I don't think that they could be here.
Okay. All right. So again, my apologies for getting out of order on the agenda, but now let's go to the planning committee update.
So this is just a quick, we're meeting our planning committee after this meeting in here. And so I just want to confirm, first of all, who's meeting with me? Awesome. Yeah, all right, Sharon. Okay. So really, that was just it. I want to ensure that no one left me hanging. And I wanted to call everyone out here in this open meeting.
That's a brief update and it's more of a call out.
Yeah.
Do you want to give an update? Did you want to give an explanation of what planning is in case someone else has the time or may want to jump on a later point?
Sure. So this is actually the first of the committees that meet, because we'll do our report out. We'll have to meet, what, January? Is that when we look at? So really, we're going to be looking at risk and needs. You know, what are the youth? What are they coming in for? What is juvenile justice theme? What are the mental health needs? What are the behavioral health needs? What are the crimes that are being committed? What would be most useful to serve these kids with the program that we have, and maybe programs in the future that would want to maybe look at partnering with us and answering an RFP in the future for the needs to serve the kids here. It sounds like we have a lot of kids who probably have a lot of different needs, and so we want to ensure that, you know, we're serving them in a proper way. So we review a lot of data. Thank you to Lorraine. We couldn't do it without her. I mean, I'm not just saying that, but it's a lot of data that's captured through the assessments that juvenile justice does, and then its input. And so Lorraine, I don't know if you have anything to follow up on that. That's sort of the quick version.
Yeah, that's the quick version.
Okay.
Yeah, anyone who's interested in diving in.
Thank you, Angie. Thank you, Lorraine. Any questions or any thoughts on anyone planning? Like we do have a couple people that will be staying with Angie afterwards. Anyone else who has time, please feel free to stay in and listen as well. As we move on in the agenda, next is Lorraine with the DJJ Community Programs Update.
All right. And today I'll go over the program report briefly, since we have some folks who are a little bit newer to this.
That's the purple document.
That's the purple document, and there's also a white copy. So that was on that got printed out too. So they're the same thing. And the one side of it has each of the programs. It's got the past 2 years for numbers served for the full year. And then the projected numbers for this year are 328. And of those collectively, all of the programs total have served 99 youth. So, and the statistics at the bottom have the percentages, you know, like of what, so 30% of the youth that programs collectively plan to serve have been served year to date. Some of those, that includes carryovers from the previous year. So you might have some youth that were still, that started during the summer or at some other point, and we're still in the program as of July 1st of 23. So this past July, some programs, you know, some youth were already in the program. So this includes carryovers. And in the second column over that 34, you can see those are the youth in the programs that have been admitted since July 1st of this fiscal year. So we always have rolling numbers going, but that's kind of how that looks. And then that middle column that you see ends with the 76. It's the 5th column over. Of those 99 youth, those are the ones, 76 were referred by DJJ directly. And then the others were referred like to the School Justice Partnership or by schools or other community resources. And then the last two pieces are number of youth 16 and older who have been served, to give you a picture, you know, snapshot of the juvenile population who are over 16, about a third of them. And then the current population is 51. That's as of 2 days ago. And then on the backside is just a snapshot of since July 1st and as of 2 days ago, how many youth completed the program during this 6 week, during this 2 month time, 3 month time. So that's how many have been, and depending on the program length, I mean, some programs, you know, youth will be in half a year, some of them they'll be in for 12 weeks, it just depends on the type of program. Any questions about that?
Elida should be off though, right?
Yes, Elida should be off. That one, are they still on? Yeah, I should have taken them off, yes.
Lorraine, it's a big number from 224 to 328.
That is. That is a big, yeah, I think programs are feeling like the momentum of coming back from COVID and in-service programming, and so that is a big jump. You can look at the different numbers and see a lot of the newer numbers, of course, I think with the clinical assessment program and with group counseling. So those do, I mean, that's 100 of the youth.
Yeah.
There.
Just by comparison, what do we look like with other counties? Like how busy are we compared? Obviously Charlotte and Raleigh are in a whole different ballgame, but in comparison, where are we at with
number?
Yeah.
Well, it's a little bit, I mean, I was in Graham County a few days ago, and you know, there we were looking at risk assessment data, and there were 12 youth or 14 for the year, and in Buncombe there were 526 last year. So just to give you a comparison, like that's the sort of extreme example. But as far as youth being served, I'd say most of the counties have bounced back for the youth they're serving. It's just some counties just don't have a lot of JJ involved.
Henderson has, I can't remember the number, and I know Lorraine's transition now.
Yeah. It's large.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely increased as well.
Yeah.
Not as high as Buncombe, but there's been an increase.
I'd say all of the counties, I mean, all of the counties that I've served, that all increased their numbers. And Graham County, those are just DJJ referred youth, but overall they have like 35, 40 kids, but that's their caseload. They out.
Is this where we inquire about the Kids at Work program in Catawba?
In Catawba,
Well, with the critical program standard violation inquiry that we have, is this?
yeah, I mean, you can ask that at this point, sure, that's fine.
So part of me is concerned because this now, I know it's not the kids that work in Buncombe, but even with this second violation, and it's in Catawba, and it's the second violation within this program. It's just kind of concerning. When is there a conversation about, about funding? So even though it doesn't happen in Buncombe County, if it continues to happen in other counties, how does that look if we fund programs, or is that problematic? Especially with the issue that this last issue.
Well, and at this point, it's still under investigation, and so we're really waiting on that piece to be completed by law enforcement for doing their investigation. So we can't do anything until that's completed. But to your general question, I mean, you can add of any program, you can as a council, you'll always have you're making those funding decisions, and you can always ask those questions. Yeah. And
Kim is on.
And I'm gonna say Ms. Castagna is on. Kim is on. If you have any questions directly for her, and then Sergio is here also in person.
I know that, given the investigation, I don't know how much you all can say, but is there anything that you want to respond?
The only thing that I know of is that the investigation is still undertaking. There hasn't been any updates that I know about. That's all. The liberty to say.
Yeah, we couldn't hear you.
It's breaking up.
Seems like their connection is not good. Yeah. Kim, we can hear that you're trying to talk, but we can't actually hear what you're saying.
Okay.
If there's anything that you want me to share, you're welcome to put it in the chat and I can read it out loud.
Well, Kim is doing that if she wants to share something. The other thing I will say about the first incident with the fire that was in Haywood County, that one had to do with well-intentioned but newer staff and staff needing additional training for very high risk youth. And so the program has submitted a corrective action plan and has followed up on that. They've had training in treatment of with problem sexual behavior. They've had training on that for all of their staff and continue to do staff development, and also have limited the number of high-risk youth in the program that they have admitted. So that, there are some of those pieces that they have already put in place for the first piece. The second incident was different in nature. It had to do with an actual, with the staff person, and that's the piece under investigation. The program had completed a background check and those types of things, but the allegation, everything is under investigation. So at this point, there's nothing we can say about that. We don't know.
Can we see you logged back in? I don't know if you want to try to unmute again.
Okay, is this any better?
Yes.
All right. All right. Yeah, I mean, this last, I think Lorraine just, spoke well to the first, incident in relation to, our screening process of taking higher risk kids. And whenever you take higher risk kids, you do risk to have more incidences, unfortunately. And then, as you know, Kids at Work has expanded over the years, and now we are in 26 counties. And so with that type of coverage, if an incident happens, you're more likely to have an incident just because you're serving a whole lot more kids across a very wide area. However, this last accusation, of course, is very concerning to us. We really, try to create a safe environment for our kids and and try to, we followed all the steps that we are supposed to in terms of our background check, reference checks, talking with previous employers, doing all of those things. After the incident was reported, we did have, video footage. We did review the video footage. We didn't observe anything inappropriate on the video footage, but there's more steps to the investigation. I have called the investigator as recently as yesterday just to get an update. And I have not heard anything back, but once I do, I certainly will update the JCPC.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Kim.
You're welcome.
The other piece to cover today, and I'll try to be brief with it because I know it be a longer piece, is STEP. It stands for STEP is our shortcut language for Standardized Program Evaluation Protocol. And it is one evaluation tool that most of our programs in JCPC programs use. There are a couple of types of programs that are not covered under STEP, mostly because there's a wide range of the types. Mediation and teen court are not covered under STEP, and so they don't have a STEP score for that, but they do have one piece that goes into the STEP score that they do cover. And so SPEP stands for Standardized Program Evaluation Protocol. These salmon colored packets that are over here and that got sent out will give you like a brief history of SPEP, and that's what's up on the screen now. I won't go into all of it, but I will just say that Dr. Lipsy, who worked on the meta-analysis, he looked at juvenile justice programs over like a 20-year period, over all program types, to kind of look at, he and Buddy Howe looked at what are the program types and what is like the ideal dosage and duration for a youth to be in that type of service that's going to be most effective. And so because we're talking about juvenile justice, the measure for effectiveness that we're aiming for, anyone know what it is? Our programs do. Karen, you wanna say it? No. But we're doing recidivism. Yeah. I don't know how to spell it. Yeah. For reducing recidivism. So our goal is to not have youth reoffend when they come through DJJ and are referred. And so SPEP looks at what are the parameters that are of all the programs, what are the pieces that made that be the most successful in reducing recidivism and not having youth reoffend. So for each program type, they came up with a different dosage and a duration. So the number of weeks and the number of ideal hours that programs can kind of aim for each of the youth that are there involved to get sort of the best bang for the buck, if I can just kind of use, like to get the most out of it for each of those youth. But just remember, you have high-risk youth coming into a program, and you think about it, we don't have control over every aspect of the child's life. There's much control we don't have. And so you're going to have some kids that will stay for the whole program. There may be some youth that will finish up their contract with DJJ and be like, I don't have to be here anymore. We'll leave early. But the programs also work with youth to try to help them stay and get the most out of it. So the second page in this packet goes through the different groups. There are 5 primary groups of service, and you will just, when you look at them, you'll see that each one, there's a sample one on here. And if you want to just, sorry. There's a sample one actually on that spec handout that we could look at if you want to just go up.
This one?
Here's a sample here for social skills training. You can see the target weeks for 16 weeks and the target hours for 24 hours. And then some spec program types have a secondary service that can make the program stronger. So for remedial academic programming, like over at Buncombe Structured Day, when they're offering that, if they do job-related services as a secondary piece, that can help increase that effectiveness of the program. So on the SPEP score, you'll see there is a score the program gets for their program type, and then they get 5 additional points if they've got a supplementary service or if their service type does not have one. So social skills training does not have a supplementary service type, so they get that 5 points anyway. And you can see there are 5 groups, and the group 5 services, which is just cognitive behavioral therapy, that would get 30 points. Whereas on down to group 1 service, it's not on here, but just so y'all, just on that other sheet, if y'all want to delve deeper later, the lowest group 1 service gets 5 points. So that wouldn't really be fair to give, hey, we're going to score you on this, and then this group gets 5 and you get 30. That's not fair. So the SPEP score actually has a self-correcting mechanism within it called a pop score that helps kind of change that around and make that more even for the project, more equitable.
So for each organization, the top score should either improve or stay the same year over year.
Yeah, you would want it to improve or stay. Now, you may have years where you've got higher risk youth, or you're taking more youth in the program, and you just have trouble maintaining that as much. You might have some kids that all moved that year or early didn't finish. So there are things that can have an effect that are beyond your control. But if you look at, there is a sample SPEP score that I didn't send out, but it's in the printed packet if anyone wants to see that, and you can kind of see what it looks like. But oh yeah, if you want to leave that one up, right, that's going to be next. So if you want to look more at a sample SPEP score, I can email that out for y'all, but there are some in the packets just for a restitution one. But the pieces of the score include the primary service, that service we were just looking at for group 1, group 5, you get a point for that. You get points for that, and for your supplementary service. This thing, the second column on here, the quality of service score, that is something that every program type gets, regardless of whether they are what we call steppable. And so
And Lorraine, real quick, for any of y'all that have one of these, if she's on that back sort of last page, there's like an example on the back of the scoring.
Right,
if you can,
on the back of that.
yes.
Yeah. And you can, if you want to look at that, there's a.
Because this is more like a list of all of them, but on the back, what you're kind of going through right now is the sample that this is.
Right. There's a sample that I put in there in case y'all wanted to look and be like, what does one look like? You look at it more. But it covers the quality of service, which is going to be in this list. Quality of service is something that all programs do when they're monitored every 3 years by the area consultant. They get a quality of service score. It is an overall score that is the same for all organizations, depending on the type of, it doesn't depend on the type of service. It covers 5 areas of organizational development. The idea is to look at it and to see how well is this program doing at implementing important pieces of that will make them more effective. And so those are those things that are included in the quality of service are things like staff training and staff retention, self-corrective action, like how does the organization do it? Looking at its past information, how did we do, trying to keep improving. That's what the quality of service looks like. It looks at those pieces that the organization does overall and how well do they follow their own policies, those types of things. You can see the quality of service scores for each of the years for each of the programs going down, and it will stay the same for a few years and then they'll get monitored and it will be updated.
Lorraine, do you think that 22, 23, the dip down in that, which you and I were looking at earlier, do you think a lot of that is because of the direct service component and the hours from virtual and COVID and referrals?
For that, I'm not sure there. Yeah, I'm not sure for that. Karen's referring to like for Earn and Learn where it kind of dipped down a little bit, but it did also for several of the programs. It did for kids at work as well.
Is it looking at the groups, is it saying that a group 5 service has proven to be more effective than, for example, a group 2 service, and that's why there's a higher score?
Yes, that is why. On the other hand, if you think about it, you know, it's a lot of programs. Like if you went and you looked and you were like, okay, I'm gonna want to serve youth in the community, and everyone wanted to do cognitive behavioral therapy. If you just had that available, what would happen? That would be all you have, and you wouldn't have an outdoor program that you could send kids to, or teen court where they could learn a lot of skills about what is it like to, I mean, some of them stay on as jury members and as volunteers and that kind of thing, but yeah, so.
Well, and in terms of effectiveness, it's specifically effectiveness against reducing recidivism.
Exactly, yeah,
And then
exactly.
one follow-up question. So then these programs that are on here. Forgive me,
Yeah,
you're new to this, so I'm like Earn and Learn or Aspire Kids at Work, like what type of service are those specifically? I'm just trying to get a sense.
That's it, yes, and some of the ones that I've used in different counties do have the type of service. This is what Buncombe had used before, so I have stayed with that, but good question. Earn and Learn is a restitution community service program. So you can look and see, you know, what group that would be in. That's maybe 3. I always have to look back to edit myself too. Group 2. So restitution community service. And Aspire using their Kids at Work program. That's a social skills training is their SPEP type. And then their connection, the Connect in their music piece, that program is a vocational skills program. And then I'm just trying to think around the room for Buncombe County Youth Justice Clinical Program. They have both a counseling component. They have 2 different programs within their program, if you will, just like Aspire does. They have a assessment program, which doesn't have a steps for assistance, but their group counseling does. Group counseling is their step service for that. Pivot Point is another social skills training program, but you can see that, like, you know, there they do a lot of outdoor pieces, hands-on activities, and then at Kids at Work, they're working in the kitchen. It's a little bit more vocational in nature, but they're both social skills trainings. And let's see, Buncombe, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to leave Buncombe Structure Day out there. We mentioned them earlier, but they're a remedial academic program. And they do have a secondary SPEP type of the job related services, like a job prep kind of thing that they do with their youth. ESCA is on here only because they did have a step score from last year, but we'll take a light off this coming year. And they were a vocational training program.
And to clarify, each of these programs on here are ones that are currently receiving funding from JCPC.
They all are except Alida. Alida has stopped partway through this past year, but because we're looking at last year's step scores, I left them on there. And they're on the back because I forgot to take them off. So, and then for the rest of these columns, so that's a good question, thank you, Andy. And then for the rest of these columns, you can see there's a basic step, like the maximum score. So that's their raw score, if you will. The POP is what we want to look at, that third column over, or fourth column with items in it. With those percentages, that takes the group 5 and the group 1 and kind of evens them out. It looks at what's the percentage they could get compared with their optimal percentage, you know, like if the 70 is the highest they can get, it takes their percentage out of 70.
It's the curve.
It's the curve. So that's what those look like. Oftentimes, if you all look at if people look later at the sample one, but for earn and learn for restitution, and sometimes the number of weeks will be doable, but sometimes the number of hours for youth that are on a diversion plan is a little bit harder to get the recommended dosage in hours, because some youth are limited to 20 hours. Most they can get if they're lower level offense and on a diversion plan. So sometimes they won't ever meet that parameter for some of those kids, because that's the most they're allowed to sort of. So there are different variables, and also if you've got low risk kids, you don't have as much chance for improvement. So you actually get fewer points for low risk instead of high risk. And some programs serve more low risk or as a diversion, and some higher risk. So some a mix. Lastly, if you did not have 10 youth who completed the program in one program year for that component within that 12-month period, so we call them terminations. It's just they completed the program. If you have fewer than 10, you're going to get an advisory score. So the connection, while they served over 10 youth, they didn't have 10 that completed within that 1 year period. So the connection has an advisory score, and so does Buncombe Structured Day. They did not have 10. And Pivot Point, you can see, did a year ago, but this year they had enough youth since they've continued to expand. Any other questions? That when you all go for JCPC monitoring in January, you'll see SPEP as one of the many things you'll look at.
Thank you, Lorraine.
Thanks.
As we move on in the agenda, it looks like the program updates. So we can go ahead and start with, it looks like Buncombe Alternatives.
Pardon me if I start coughing. I think it's just the season, right? I didn't know there were so many new council members, so I don't want to talk too much about details. I'm going to send this out to the committee, but with School Justice Partnership, what you're hearing about from May, when we signed our MOU with Asheville City Schools to now, we've had over 95 referrals. So from the high risk, meeting, diversion, direct referrals, all of these will be considered, I guess, a pilot as we presented it to you this past spring. They're all cases that would normally have gone to DJJ, truancy, lower misdemeanors that we talked about, disorderly conduct, alternative to out of school suspension, vaping, these kind of misdemeanors. So out of those 97, what we did was started to compile our boundaries as an agency or incomplete referrals. And with the lack of, or the transitions from DJJ and the lack of staff that they had, kudos to Sylvia and her staff, because this is a case by case because it is a pilot. She was instrumental in getting the stakeholders to come to the table and agree to do school justice partnership in a direct referral in the court. So since May to now, we have opened up school justice partnership that is being seen in the court system. So we still have school-based teen court, but what our MOU is now is we get the referral from school social worker, school counselor, and we take that case and we see it in court, in the court. So it's a little different, and we wanted to show this in results from what we agreed to do through JCPC. Again, for time's sake, I'm not going to read this, but it just reiterates what we planned when we put this forward in December. It's funny saying December because I think the OGs of SPEP have said that we want teen court to be SPEPable and school justice partnership and the 28th leading this for the state of North Carolina. Correct me if I'm wrong, Lorraine, but this county is being chosen to work with petitions from Montreat and Department of Public Safety as an example for not only restorative service, but our continuum of care. So again, your chief and her staff, whether they be new or veterans, have been instrumental in getting this done. So restorative justice, you know all about teen court, but you can just keep going. Good. So this is just a snapshot of the impact. Again, we are not SPEPable for all the non-OGs in the room who don't know exactly what that entails, but like being multi-year funded in here, in my 20 years of service in this program, it is my goal to prove to Lipsy Howe that that teen court is SPEPable. I don't know how, but we're going to try to do it. And in that, it shows the impact here for the teen court traditional impact. Go ahead. The continuum of care, like I just mentioned, the school-based teen court, this is in the middle schools. Jamie is not here today. She is in school-based teen court in Buncombe County right now. So they hit the ground running in Buncombe with the school-based program. So then you'll see direct referrals from the school and then court-based teen court. This is just reiterating what we had presented to you all. And then school-based teen court, these are just the bullets. So again, this will all come to you. I'm not going to read it. But what we presented to you was this was an alternative to middle school, out of school suspension. And what we're seeing with the CCC and all the continuum care that Asheville City and Buncombe County have in place that we've all heard about. We are going to partner and adopt some of the terminology with that because we are already doing that with DJJ. So school-based teen court, again, is I guess the first referral that a school can use for those lower misdemeanors. Now, I agree with Kim and the chief. We are seeing a higher risk youth when we get these direct referrals. So we are the pilot and we are figuring out how are we going to look at all these risk and needs assessments that we don't always get to see. But through YASI and communication and NC Allies, these things, we can see, you know, was a parent already imprisoned or are they not on the specific medicines that they need? What are these issues or challenges that we're getting from a direct referral, and what is that higher need of care that they may need from that direct referral? So we're setting our boundaries on that and working with both the court and the school to set those and see what those identifiers are. Direct referrals from school, I was just touching on that. Kudos to Kim Robinson and Heather and everyone in the school district who's taking advantage of these programs. Court-based teen court, nothing has really changed about the way that the success works with the 28th and utilizing the court. The only thing I can say is the benefit to having it in court is the communication with JJTC, and that is where we're right now, is when we have these staffings, the court staff knows exactly who's being staffed. So if they haven't been able to communicate with that family and or numbers have changed or something has come up, they know when the court session is going to happen and they can be there. So that's really nice for the court base. Now the school base is a little different that we see in court because that is a direct referral. We don't necessarily, we give an update of when that child has completed court and when that court session happens. But one thing that we have been doing is allowing that platform for the youth or the family to be able to talk about why they're there. So in the pilot, we haven't necessarily had Asheville City School admin or social workers come in, or teachers are the barriers that the family sees, but yet allow them to come in and give their feedback during the termination process. So court-based team court hasn't changed. It's just seeing a higher level of referrals. Right now, I think we're at 20 already. So measuring impact through the plan of repairs. So again, just community service, we're intertwining those of you who are not familiar with Earn and Learn and Teen Court. Since we're housed under the same agency, the benefit to that in the 28th is that continuum of care. So with a lot of these higher risk youth, what we're seeing is they can come in a school-based teen court, and let's say we don't see or hear from that family again for 3 to 4 years. They enter high school, something happens, they can come back to the teen court program, the court-based teen court, if one of Sylvia's staff gets diversion or probation, they can come through one of our programs. So, and I forget the mandate and when that happened, but I think it was 2020 when the mandate came down that teen court was no longer considered in the state of North Carolina a first-time offender program. Yet again, showing that it does make a statistical difference when you have the school justice partnership in place and it's working effectively, and the collaborators and everybody at the table know that down the line they can be referred to the court-based teen court program and or community service. So if you have any questions on what's been happening on the school justice partnership, I can tell you that I know that the school, both Asheville City and Buncombe County, are definitely referring because the numbers are there. The success, like I said, being a pilot, we'll have those for you probably in the same time that we have the court, 6 months. So around December, we'll hopefully come back and show those numbers. Right now, the hurdle we're running through is we got all the referrals in May, and so that led to summer. So having contact with folks, a lot of them being 9th or 8th graders, we're going on to high school. So we're going to put some things in place so we can get those in a more timely fashion. So, but that's teen court, and for Earn and Learn, just a quick update.
Which of the county schools are involved with?
We have Inca Middle and Inca High right now, or Inca Intermediate. I don't where Virginia is today. It's something that again the school needed or wanted because of the success. I think it's Jenny from United with one of the school social workers who runs that. So, and then in Asheville City School, the MOUs for court-based referrals direct are Asheville Middle, Asheville High, and Montford. I'm forgetting the name. Montford North Star. And am I forgetting someone? I think that's it right now. And then the direct referrals in Asheville are our most hot cases, where we see a higher level of care, and we're identifying that as well. So, any other questions, Chief, on that?
I have a question. Do you have the demographics of the newer referrals?
From the school-based?
Yeah.
As far as where they're located?
No, their race.
It's, I can get that for you and send it out in an email, absolutely. Yeah, no problem. And for Earn and Learn, the same, we complement each other in these programs. And one of the things that has been super beneficial is when we do have a higher need, we can either make that recommendation and communicate in our termination paperwork to the direct referral source. Right now it's DSS and SROs, Guardian, and we always check with the staff first at the court base level, and the communication is there to identify what, some of these direct referrals are coming in with 5 different offenses, whether it be disorderly conduct in the home or, gosh, I can't even think of half the ones, but so picking and choosing those, it's daunting. So it just gives us just a first hands-on view of what the court counselors do on that magnitude and that scale. We're just talking about a handful that are coming through direct referrals. So, you know, if Mr. Lance has 55 caseloads, we're just talking about 5. So it is daunting when you think about what are they coming to the school with, or what are they coming to court with? What are those risk factors that we don't know about in this YASA report? So it'll be interesting to find out. And part of what I know the Earn Learn program is doing right now, we received the grant hopefully in a couple of weeks, is, and this is who Hannah was referring to earlier, our Hannah that we just hired, Purcell, who is at the office right now, is working on risk and needs of not just Buncombe County, but she's going to go out in the state. And that's one of the things that we're going to look at is what are the indicators in this direct referral process? What in the YASA report are we missing? What's showing? Are they not taking their medicines daily? Or is there another JJTC provider that needs to be in with this child? Should we, you know, start doing direct referrals that way? There's a lot of factors I think that aren't available at this level. So, you know, that's kind of what we're running into in identifying those in Earn and Learn and Teen Court. So with Earn and Learn, we have a couple hot cases. We have one youth that just came in for his main offense was theft, and his first day of community service, he stole the keys to a forklift. And
Allegedly.
Oh, sorry.
Is it allegedly? Is that right? Is that right?
Yeah. Allegedly. And so one of the things that we had to do was put in place, you know, we were restorative, not punitive. So we worked with MANA, got on the spot with that, and instead of just, you know, laying it down, giving this child and MANA staff and our staff a moment to come in and do an in-person apology and explain what the ramifications of this were, not just for the child, the family, because it's a guardian, not the parent, and MANA, the liability. And so that's new, and you know, that's just a different higher level than our child. We might need to get our staff trained in restraint as well, I'm not sure, but anyway, that's just an example of what we're doing. So if anyone has any questions, please feel free to get in touch, but my heart and everything goes out to the DJJ staff right now, especially having new folks on staff, because it's a lot. It really is, not just for our community providers, but the schools. It's eye-opening to see this firsthand. So I applaud the schools and the court for doing that, and you for taking a chance on school justice partnership. Thank you.
Any questions?
And I can get those demographics for both programs for direct referrals. So, because DSS is jumping on that too.
We can get the male and female, I guess, as well, like all of the demographics.
Yeah, I can pull it from NC Allies, and then as far as the YASI and our risk and needs, we're planning hopefully by this time next year to have that in place for you guys to see. And it won't just be our programs. What we're going to do is take the whole lot from JJTC and JCPC and some other providers in the community. The continuum learning that we get is not just all JCPC programs. I don't know if everyone's privy to that information, but when we go through allocations, we're going to look at all of those programs so we can give you guys a snapshot of what we see. So, because families are a little more apt to talk to us. We find out a lot more than I think, you know, the schools and the folks get. And it's eye-opening. So, all right, thanks.
Thank you. All right, as we are on the back portion of it, it looks like the next thing on the agenda was potential future program update formats. And is that kind of what we were talking about, moving?
In the executive committee, I don't know if y'all want to share what you were discussing.
This is sort of moving of the time frame up from programs giving updates kind of up in the beginning as opposed to kind of in the back end.
I think that the executive committee was reviewing some of what Henderson does, with getting written updates
Yes.
on a regular basis. And so I think the executive committee was planning to meet again before December for making a final decision, but just wanted to give programs the heads up that the executive committee is considering whether to try to institute something like Henderson, where they get, where programs just provide a brief written update at every meeting. So every other month, and just be available to answer any questions. That's accurate.
That is, not that we don't want the programs here, but it also allows us to be able to see what they're doing, as well as being able to kind of move through the agenda. Just as options as people come and go or sick.
I would add to that, maybe a dashboard of information that we're looking for. I'm not sure if industry does that. So that as we're looking at the updates that the organizations are providing, we have some consistency with how that looks. I think it would help the organizations who are providing their monthly or however often on the side, for them to provide the feedback. So some type of template.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've got that on, so we'll visit that at our next committee to see how we can flesh that dashboard out, make it transparent and visible for everyone.
George, if it would be helpful, I'll send a copy of what Henderson uses and their directives out to the program so they can look at it and maybe send y'all feedback if they would like to as well, if that's helpful.
Yeah.
But the nice thing is it's fiscal and program updates, so you can kind of see where it goes. So I think it's great.
All right, so that's potential future program update formats. We move now to the JCPC membership. Obviously, we have these conflict of interest forms that are up here. Hannah, do we have a list of who hasn't signed? I don't want to call anyone out.
We have to get them new every fiscal year, so just go ahead and sign a new one.
Even if you have already signed, sign again. There's nothing.
Even if you did a few months ago, we're in the fiscal year, so just go ahead and sign a new one, and you can. Yes, and we'll pass them around, and for folks online, I sent them out electronically yesterday. So you can always just sign them electronically even and send them back to me, and that'll be great.
Any time frame on that you need to buy?
It's most important that we have it before allocations, but if you can get it back to me in the coming month before December, that's great.
Okay. Moves us to our pretty much our last item on the agenda, which is the most exciting. It's new applications, right? Actions and reviews. So I know we have several applications that we need to make actions on for people who want to be a part of this wonderful program and committee that we are involved with. We do have some, as you can see in the yellow, some vacant spots. I want to go ahead and say that we do have designees, I guess, that we need to vote for. I believe I looked at the bylaws. And I just want to go ahead and continue on the process of, although we have someone designated into a role, that we should still vote on those individuals as well. I guess the first way we can do is we can find out who are the designees, and we can do those, and then we can do the applications. In the end. It is also 10. Thank you for the time. So designee, we're close. For the designees, I know one is Mr. Dennis. Although he came here late, right? We don't need to hold that against him. Obviously, he's here from the public defender's office. Tim had to step away, and so we have a much better applicant and role here, although we'll let that stay here in the building. I love you, Tim. If he's watching. Guess we need to anyone make a motion on.
We have three
You want to do all three designees that are here?
I don't know if just in the purpose of time,
One lieutenant,
Yeah, Sergeant Craig Loveland.
yep, Loveland,
With Asheville Police Department.
yep,
Who's joining us virtually. And is Sergeant, you're welcome to unmute and speak if you'd like to. And then Kadia Ross, with Norfolk and JHS.
okay. Fine to be able to do make a vote on, or make a motion on the designees that we have.
A motion to approve all three.
I second.
Everyone say yay if you're in approval.
Yay.
Any nays? All right, so we got the designees already in place. The next is the applicants from our community. Is that 3 spots? Is that right, Hannah?
We have 1 spot and we have 4 applicants and 3 of them are here today. Unless anyone qualifies as a substance abuse professional that I wasn't aware of, Destiny has moved, got an peer support specialist role back in her home of Cherokee, and so she's doing great work over there. So that spot has opened up since we last met. But yes, we have 1 community member spot, and we have Banta Whitner and Matthew Schofield.
Matt Schofield.
Matt Schofield and Stan Ingber on virtual.
Okay. And this is for the community position, correct? I believe you passed out everything that you've had regarding their applications. So, and I believe that was at the last board meeting as well. We've been able to.
Mr. Ingber was at the last board meeting and had an opportunity to speak, and Whitney and Mr. Schofield are here today. So now, I guess since we have both Banta and Schofield here, I guess kind of hearing from them briefly, it is 10 o'clock. thank you.
Just kind of briefly, just kind of tell us who you are, why you're here, what about JCPC you like that you want to be a part of.
Really happy to be here. So much goodness in this place. I am a lifelong social worker with a background in education. So I was a high school English teacher at the beginning of my career and always worked with kids who were marginalized. And this was long before the days of child study programs and IEPs and all of that. And also long before the days of school discipline officers. In any case, in all the years as a therapist and social worker, worked with diverse populations of youth and families, and consulted in schools and also in faith communities around, mental health issues, critical incidents, that sort of thing. My particular passion is where the intersection of literacy and mental health and sort of justice meet. And so, and I, come from a trauma-informed developmental background, so I don't know if those skill sets are welcome here, but I'm interested in making a contribution where possible. So,
Thank you for joining us.
I've been a public defender for 16 years. My reasons for applying were kind of twofold. One of them was I got the message that there was a need for people to apply for the various councils, boards, commissions here in Asheville. And secondly, this one's kind of in my wheelhouse. I have done a little bit of juvenile criminal work, although the office I currently work in doesn't do that. But that's primarily why I applied. I thought that there was kind of a need. I didn't expect there to be several applicants and needing to present something about myself. But so yeah, that's basically why. Scott, I see the Scott. I saw that Scott. There's a public defender designee, and wasn't aware of that. Learned a lot today about what you guys do. I do find it interesting, and again, I'm willing to participate if you need me.
Thank you.
Mr. Smithfield, I know that Lorraine Williams was also considering trying to coach you and bring you down to the county that you work in.
Okay.
I had said at the executive committee when we had the discussion and we saw where you work that's another, there's also a juvenile crime prevention council in Transylvania County. That might be also another option, because I think they have some spaces available as.
Great, yeah, I got the impression that this is something that's in every county, I guess, and I see, so yeah, I'll give you my contact information before I go, and we may start doing juvenile criminal work. There are fewer and fewer attorneys in that district. They're aging now. Yeah. Okay.
We can talk.
Yeah. Sounds good.
All right. We did do add you, we would have to add another prosecutor so that we could at least balance out, so that we're not heavy on the public defender end. But
I don't know about that, you know, the state has awesome power, you know. So it's starting to heat up. That's right.
All right, so everyone's had a chance, obviously, to listen to the community applicants we have. So Stan is, I believe, online, but he was here at the last board meeting and was able to speak about his interests as well. Kenny, you did pass out the applications or send out those as well that have written information as well for you to review. So at this point, we're kind of at the agenda where we'll need to make a motion for someone to fill the last spot in this wonderful committee that we have with a community member.
Make a motion to move forward with, is it Banter, Whitner, and the community seat as a part of the council.
Is there a second?
I would second it.
Is this something that needs to go to the county commissioners as well?
Yes. It would be something for the JCPC to vote on to recommend, and then it would go before the county commissioners.
All right, so everyone that's here, JCPC committee, everyone that agrees with the motion's been put forth in the second, you can say yay.
Yay.
Any nays, any oppositions? And again, this is just to recommend to the county commissioners to fill that last spot with Bandit Wither. Hearing no nays, then I say that we are able to move forward on that last spot, and we'll offer that recommendation on your behalf. Thank you, guys.
And thank you all so much for your commitment to our young people. And we have not been in this position very often. We're having more applicants than we have spots available. And so we're really grateful. And we'll also, we could potentially follow back up if we have spots that become vacant. It's folks to move on to various reasons. So thank you.
Thank you, Stan. Thank you, Matt, for being able to show your interest in wanting to be a part of this committee. Any other public comments or announcements from anyone here or anyone online? Hearing nothing, is there a motion to adjourn for today's meeting?
So move to adjourn.
Second.
I guess those individuals